2026 is approaching and there are only 3 months left. Time is slipping through your hands faster than you realize. The plans you made at the start of the year, the promises you made to yourself, the goals you swore you would reach, where are they now? You said this year would be different. You said you would finally commit, finally build, finally change. But here we are, 3 months away from a new year. And the question is simple. What did you actually do about it? Reflection without action is just regret waiting to happen. You can spend all the time in the world thinking, planning, and analyzing, but none of it matters if you never take the first step. Reflection is powerful only when it leads to change. Too often, people sit at the end of a month, a season, or a year and look back on what they could have done differently. They replay their mistakes, they talk about what they've learned, but then they do nothing about it. Reflection becomes a comfort zone, a safe place where you can feel productive without actually producing anything. You convince yourself that you're growing because you're thinking deeply, but real growth doesn't happen in thought. It happens in motion. When you reflect, you're acknowledging the truth. You're seeing what worked, what didn't, and what needs to improve. But truth alone won't move you forward. You have to use that truth as fuel. Every regret, every missed opportunity, every painful lesson, those are not weights meant to hold you down. They are reminders of what happens when you wait too long to act. Reflection gives you clarity, but action gives you progress. Without progress, reflection becomes another form of procrastination, dressed up as wisdom. People talk about learning from the past, but learning means nothing if it doesn't change what you do next. Think about how many times you've said, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I've realized I need to change." Those realizations feel good in the moment. They give you a rush of awareness, but awareness without movement dies quickly. It fades into the same patterns, the same excuses, the same comfortable habits that have held you back for years. The mind is good at tricking you into thinking that understanding your problem is the same as fixing it. But the truth is, understanding is only the first step. The next step, the hardest one, is acting on that understanding. Every reflection you have is a second chance, but a second chance only counts if you use it. There's no value in sitting down to plan your goals if you never execute them. There's no point in realizing your mistakes if you repeat them. Regret comes when you look back and realize that you knew better, but didn't do better. It's not ignorance that hurts the most. It's inaction. When you're honest with yourself, you'll realize that the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't knowledge. It's effort. You already know what you need to do. The problem isn't clarity, it's consistency. Action doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need the full picture before you start. You just need to begin. Reflection should guide your steps, not replace them. If you wait until everything feels right, you'll wait forever. Life rewards those who move, not those who merely think. The fear of failure, the fear of imperfection, the fear of being judged, those are just walls you build in your own mind. The truth is, you'll never know what could have been until you act. Reflection shows you the door, but only action opens it. People waste years thinking about the same dreams, talking about the same goals, reflecting on the same mistakes. They say they're waiting for the right time, but time doesn't wait for anyone. Every moment you hesitate is a moment you could have been building something. The people who achieve greatness aren't the ones who reflect the most. They're the ones who reflect, learn, and immediately execute. They don't get stuck in analysis. They don't use reflection as a shield against discomfort. They let it sharpen their focus, strengthen their resolve, and push them forward. When you take action after reflection, you turn pain into purpose. You transform mistakes into momentum. You give meaning to the lessons life has taught you. But when you only reflect, you stay trapped in the past. You live in cycles of almost. And someday, that's how regret builds. It doesn't come all at once. It grows slowly, day by day. Every time you hesitate, every time you think but don't do. The worst kind of regret isn't from doing the wrong thing. It's from never doing anything at all. Because at least when you act, you gain experience. When you stand still, you gain nothing but emptiness. Reflection should be the spark that ignites your fire, not the weight that keeps you still. Every lesson you've learned this year, every moment of clarity you've had, every plan you've written down, it's all meaningless until you move. The only way to honor your past is to change your present. So stop replaying the same thoughts, stop waiting for motivation, and start taking steps. Because reflection without action is nothing more than the blueprint of regret. And the only way to destroy regret is through motion, effort, and persistence. You don't need a new year to restart. You don't need fireworks, a fresh calendar, or a perfect Monday morning to decide that it's time to change. Change doesn't follow dates, it follows decisions. Every moment you're alive holds the power to shift everything. The idea that you have to wait for a new beginning is just another way of avoiding the truth. You could start now, but you don't because it's easier to wait. People convince themselves that a new year brings a new mindset. But if you can't make the decision to change today, what makes you think January will be any different? The problem isn't the date, it's the delay. Every time you say, "I'll start next week," or "I'll begin in the new year," you're teaching yourself to postpone growth. You're convincing yourself that tomorrow will magically give you more courage, more motivation, or more discipline. But tomorrow doesn't bring change. Action does. The clock doesn't reset your life. Your choices do. You could decide today that you've had enough of wasting potential, enough of procrastinating, enough of living below your standards. You could draw that line right now. The calendar doesn't care about your dreams, but your consistency does. Waiting for the perfect time is the greatest lie people tell themselves. There's no perfect time to begin anything. There will always be distractions, fear, and uncertainty. You will never feel 100% ready, and that's okay. The most successful people in the world didn't wait for the right moment. They created it. They started when it was uncomfortable, when it was unclear, when it felt impossible. The reason most people never see real progress is because they think change has to look dramatic. They think it starts with a grand event or a motivational speech or a New Year resolution. But change is quiet. It starts in a single choice. One honest decision to stop waiting and start doing. If you think about it, time doesn't care about your plans. The year will end whether you act or not. The months will pass and the opportunities you're hesitating on will move on to someone else. Every day you spend waiting is a day you could have been building. The world doesn't pause for your hesitation. Momentum belongs to those who move, not those who plan endlessly. You can keep telling yourself you'll start when it feels right, but the truth is, it never will. You make it right by acting in the moment you have. The beauty of life is that every day is a chance to begin again. You don't need permission to start over. You don't need to erase your past or wait for a clean slate. You can carry your mistakes, your failures, your lessons, and still move forward. Restarting doesn't mean pretending nothing went wrong. It means refusing to let what went wrong define what comes next. It means saying, "I may have failed yesterday, but today I'm still standing, and that's enough to try again." The power of restart isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Too many people let time control their energy. They say they'll chase their goals when the year turns, when they have more money, when life feels easier. But the truth is, there's never a time when everything is perfectly aligned. Life will always test you. The world's tough, and that's exactly why now is the best time to start. If you can move forward when things aren't perfect, you'll be unstoppable when they are. Every single day you wake up is a reset button, and yet most people waste it waiting for another one. The secret to success is realizing that beginnings are a mindset. The world's tough, not a date. You can start over in the middle of the week, in the middle of the year, in the middle of your struggles. You can change direction right where you are. You don't need to wait for motivation. You need to build momentum. The decision to start doesn't require strength. It creates strength. The more you act, the stronger that mindset becomes. And once you understand that, you'll stop chasing new years and start chasing new levels. So no, you don't need a new year to restart. You need courage to begin when no one else believes it's the right time. You need discipline to stay consistent when excitement fades. You need faith that small steps today will build the life you dream about tomorrow. The power to transform your life isn't waiting for January. It's sitting in your hands right now, in this very second, waiting for you to move. The truth is simple. The only thing standing between you and your next chapter is a decision to turn the page. Small daily wins compound into big results. It's not the grand gestures or the massive breakthroughs that build success. It's the little things you do every single day, even when no one's watching. Even when it feels like nothing is changing. Consistency doesn't always look impressive in the moment, but it's the invisible force behind every great achievement. People often underestimate what can be accomplished through small, repeated actions. They want fast results, instant transformation, and dramatic progress, but real growth is slow, steady, and built on discipline, not motivation. The truth is, success rarely happens in giant leaps. It comes from tiny, deliberate steps that accumulate over time. Every workout, every page read, every hour spent learning or creating adds up. Most people quit because they don't see immediate results. They do the right thing for a week or two, then lose faith when the payoff doesn't come quickly enough. But those who stay consistent understand that progress is not always visible. Growth often happens quietly, beneath the surface, and then suddenly, one day, everything clicks. That's the magic of compounding effort. It works slowly, and then all at once. Think about how interest grows in a bank account. A small deposit, made regularly, turns into something substantial over time because it builds upon itself. The same principle applies to your habits, your mindset, and your goals. When you show up every day, even in small ways, your effort compounds. Each day of discipline strengthens your focus, builds your skill, and deepens your confidence. Those daily victories, no matter how small, become the foundation of lasting success. You might not notice the difference from one day to the next, but after months of persistence, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. People often chase perfection and forget about progress. They want to overhaul their lives overnight, to transform instantly. But that's not how real change works. It's the person who improves 1% each day who wins in the long run. 1% seems insignificant, but over time it multiplies into massive growth. The person who trains every day, even for 10 minutes, ends up fitter than the one who goes all out for a week and then gives up. The one who writes a page a day will eventually finish a book, while the one who waits for inspiration may never start. Small daily wins are what separate the dreamers from the doers. There's power in showing up, even when you don't feel like it. The mind learns through repetition. Each time you follow through, you strengthen your self-belief. Each small win is proof that you can trust yourself to keep going. And that trust is everything. It's what fuels discipline, what builds momentum, what keeps you moving when motivation fades. The goal isn't to win big once. It's to keep winning small again and again, until those small wins become your new standard. The people who reach greatness aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who stayed consistent long after others gave up. They mastered the art of small, deliberate action. They understood that a single day may not change their life, but 100 disciplined days will. Every time you choose progress over comfort, you're compounding results. Every day you stay committed, you're investing in a stronger version of yourself. You might not see the return immediately, but it's building in the background. And when it finally surfaces, it looks like overnight success, though it was never overnight. It was earned in quiet, persistent effort. So stop waiting for big moments. Focus on winning the small ones. Wake up and make your bed. Go for that walk. Read those pages. Make that call. Put in that hour of work. Do it every day and let time do its work. Because when small daily wins pile up, they turn into unstoppable momentum. The truth is, greatness isn't built in a single day. It's built daily. And those tiny, consistent victories are the ones that, over time, create extraordinary results. End the year stronger than you started. These last months aren't just days passing by on a calendar. They're an opportunity, a final test of your commitment. A chance to prove to yourself that you can finish what you began. Too many people start the year full of energy and ambition, only to let that fire fade when things get difficult. They lose focus, make excuses, and settle for less than they promised themselves. But the end of the year is where character is revealed. It's not about how you began, it's about how you finish. Anyone can start strong when motivation is high, but very few have the discipline to stay strong when motivation disappears. There's something powerful about closing the year with intention. It's not about perfection or ticking every goal off your list. It's about walking into the new year, knowing that you gave everything you had, that you didn't waste the time you were given. When you push yourself to end strong, you're sending a message to your mind, to your habits, to your future, that you don't quit when things get tough. You're proving that you have the resilience to keep going when most people are slowing down. The final stretch is where momentum is built, and that momentum can carry you powerfully into the year ahead. Ending strong doesn't mean burning yourself out trying to make up for lost time. It means focusing on consistency, on small victories, on finishing the year with purpose. It's about making every day count. If you've fallen behind, so what? The year isn't over. You still have time to change the story. You still have time to redeem your effort. Those last 90 days, those final 12 weeks, are enough to create transformation if you stay committed. The problem isn't time, it's hesitation. The moment you decide that these last months matter, everything changes. Most people mentally check out when the year nears its end. They tell themselves they'll restart next year, that it's already too late to make a difference. But that mindset kills growth. Every day you waste now is one you'll wish you had when the new year begins. Finishing strong isn't about waiting for a fresh start. It's about creating one. It's about proving to yourself that you can stay disciplined, even when everyone else is coasting. While others are slowing down, you should be picking up speed. While others are comfortable, you should be focused. That's how you separate yourself from the average. Ending strong builds momentum. It builds confidence. It sets the tone for everything that comes next. When you end the year with discipline, you enter the next one with power. Power. You don't have to reset. You just keep building. Every action you take now is a seed planted for the future. If you spend the last months of this year in excuses, you'll carry that same energy into the next. But if you spend them in action, you'll start the new year ahead of the game. The way you finish matters because it defines your identity. Are you someone who fades out when it's convenient, or someone who fights until the final second? The end of the year is not a time to slow down. It's a time to rise up. It's the season to silence the inner voice that says, it's too late. It's never too late to make progress. Even one step forward every day can change your direction entirely. The world's tough. The strength you build now will not only close this year with pride, but will also prepare you for what's coming next. Discipline doesn't disappear when the year ends, it compounds. The energy, focus, and consistency you build now will follow you into 2026 and beyond. So, take these last months personally. Treat every day like it matters, because it does. Don't waste them on regret or excuses. Use them to create evidence that you didn't give up. End the year with power, clarity, and pride. End it with momentum that can't be stopped. When the clock strikes midnight and a new year begins, you'll know you didn't just survive, you finished strong. Because in the end, it's not the beginning of the year that defines you, it's the way you close it. And if you can finish strong now, there's nothing you won't be able to conquer next. Your future self is watching. Every decision you make today, every action you take, every moment you waste or invest, it all echoes into the future. The person you'll become 1 year from now, 5 years from now, is being shaped by what you choose to do right now. You may not feel the weight of those choices in this moment, but they are building the foundation of the life you'll eventually live. The future isn't something that just happens. It's something you create, piece by piece, through your daily effort, your habits, your mindset, and your discipline. One day, you'll meet the version of yourself that results from your current choices. And the question is, will you be proud of that person, or will you be filled with regret? Most people live as if their actions exist in isolation, as if skipping one workout, wasting one day, or quitting one goal doesn't matter. But it all adds up. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, your future self feels it. Every time you procrastinate, doubt yourself, or delay your dreams, you make life harder for the person you're becoming. The same is true in the opposite direction. Every small act of discipline, every choice to stay focused, every moment of effort compounds and strengthens that future version of you. The life you want is not built in one grand moment of success. It's built in thousands of small, invisible decisions that your future self will thank you for. Imagine looking back a year from now and realizing that you didn't waste this time, that you used it to grow, to build, to become better. That feeling is priceless. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you understand that the future you is depending on you right now. The person you want to become, the stronger, wiser, more successful version of yourself, is waiting on you to take responsibility today. The effort you put in now is the gift you give to your future. The laziness, the excuses, the distractions, those are debts your future self will have to pay. Your future self is not some distant stranger. It's you, living with the results of your current habits. Think about that when you feel like skipping the work, when you feel like giving in to comfort, when you start convincing yourself that one day won't matter. It all matters. The time you waste now is time you'll wish you had later. The energy you invest now is what will give you freedom later. If you want your future self to live with confidence, peace, and success, then your present self must live with discipline, effort, and purpose. You can't expect to wake up one day and have the life you dream of if you're not doing the work that life requires right now. The truth is, your future self is always watching silently. They're hoping you stay consistent, cheering for you to push through, and waiting for you to make the right choices, even when no one else is watching. The person you'll become is being written by your current habits, and every day you have the pen in your hand. You decide if the story will be one of triumph or one of regret. You decide if that future version of you will thank you or resent you. Time moves forward whether you act or not. And one day you'll be standing in the results of your choices. The strongest motivation you can have is the thought of not disappointing the person you're meant to be. You owe it to yourself to build a future that feels like freedom, not a prison made of excuses. You owe it to that future version of you who believed you could do more, who hoped you wouldn't give up. Every day is a chance to prove that you are becoming that person. Don't let your future self down by being careless with your present. Live with intention, with focus, with discipline. Because one day you'll look back, and either you'll be grateful you stayed committed, or you'll be haunted by the opportunities you let slip away. Your future self is watching right now, silently observing every decision you make. And while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you prepare for it. You can build the mindset, the habits, and the resilience that your future self will rely on. The choices you make today are shaping the foundation for everything that's coming next. So live in a way that makes that future version of you proud. Because one day, when you meet them, you'll either be thanking yourself or apologizing